Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are listening from. I want to go straight into the point for today. There is no democracy in this world. What you call rule of law, human rights, all these are just facades and illusions created by a group of people for their personal interests. Democracy does not really exist. It's just something that was manufactured from the thin air and made global by British and Americans. Democracy does not exist. The concept of human rights, government of the people, by the people, and for the people is a very big fat lie. The people who started this democracy thing, the Greeks and improved by Romans, they started it after conquering many lands, after destroying a lot of people, grabbing their lands and doing a lot of human rights abuses before setting up the democracy. The same thing with the Romans. Conquered, killed, destroyed, maimed, raped. And when they had finished, they now set up what they call democracy. And after the Romans, we now have the British, an island somewhere that invaded, destroyed, killed, grabbed lands and resources of over 100 countries. When you stand in their way, they destroy the people who stand in their way and still take the resources. After they must have done what they do, they write a piece of nonsense on the paper as treaty and still ask you to forcefully sign what is against your will. Is that democracy? Britain, that spread democracy, spread it on the foundation of lies, destruction, self-interest, grab, land grab, resource grab, and control of narratives in their own interests. And America continued from there. I don't even know between America and United States of America and Britain, which is more in terms of violation of human rights, which is the foundation upon which this democracy lie that they spread to the world. America was founded on the blood of innocent humans, or let's say the blood of humans, because I don't know the history of those people. The Indians are the original people who stayed in that land. They were killed, chased away, they kept until they chased the Indians completely out of their lands. 2 states today we know as California and I think certain states today in America, currently in America, belong to the Mexicans. The Mexicans were killed, were chased away, forced out of their homes, and their lands were incorporated into what we know today as United States of America. Sorry if you're hearing a sound, it's from my neighbor. And America did not stop there. They went globally, sponsoring regime changes, bombing people who regimes were against their interests, and they don't mind so long as their interest of getting oil, natural resources is protected. So these two main culprits, who are so-called shining examples of democracy, have done things that are directly opposite the thing they try to propagate, which is rule of law. Americans and human rights. Americans destroyed the Americans and Britons have gone against the human rights of nearly every nation that is against their interests. This is what they came to spread to Africa. The same democracy, getting a few band of people, empowering them, and making those people free to loot the resources of their people and give them access into the larger resources of their lands. So, this thing called democracy is a very big fat lie. It does not really exist. You see, in this world, the people who are in control of land, resources, and power control narratives. The narratives are used to shape people's perception, and perception is used to make people move in a certain way, and to make them move in a certain way to fulfill the interests of those who control the narratives. And in this case, those who control the narratives are the Americans, the Britons, the French, and their allies. And they have used media to control the narratives, like taking control of corrupt kings, princes, presidents, governors, and control of print, media, these days even the social media, so as to shape on the minds of the people of their target point of interest, which is lands and resources. You rarely see Americans and Britons and these other people that claim to be Democrats and propagators of democracy in lands where there are no resources that will not benefit them. So democracy is a big fat lie. I'm not using this as a way to support autocracy or dictatorship, but I believe that Africans need to start coming out with a hybrid system that represents the interests of the people and not the copycat method of the Americans and the Britons that will satisfy them. Africa was relatively peaceful before the British and the French came. So Africa needs to look a way to emancipate herself from the mental slavery foisted upon it by the British and the Americans. Reimagine herself and come up with its own methods of governing itself that will be for the larger interests of its society. The French, the British, and the Americans do not practice democracy. What they practice is 100% self-interest. I believe these points make meaning to like minds and ponder upon it. You can also apply it not just on a national level, in democratic societies, in your business organizations. When you see people begin to begin to talk about rights, leadership principles, and they are so hammering about it, step back and begin to analyze and ask yourself, what are the personal interests of these people in all these things they say? Thank you and have a wonderful and blessed day. God is the greatest and Jesus is Lord.